Hello there, and welcome to Dead Reflections Podcast. How you guys doing? This is being recorded live on Twitch, and we are your hosts,
Kolby.
Caleb.
And I'm your boy Josh, a.k.a. Drifter Voyages.
This is episode 14, by the way.
It's episode 14. Did I say a different number?
You didn't say anything.
Oh, it's episode 14, by the way. But yes, thank you so much for watching and listening. New episodes drop every Monday and Friday at 6 a.m. Our goal here is to give someone at the table the chills, and if we're lucky, we might even send some of those spooks along to you. Okay, that was terrible. I attempted that. Before we get into cut that. Before we get into the show, we have some FWF updates. Upcoming show dates: May 25th in Austin at Hole in the Wall, May 27th in Austin at Fourth Tap Brewery, July 9th in Midland at Sound Deep Forever Fest, and a newly added date August 5th in Houston at the White Swan, the Sweaty Gooch Fest. There are more in the works, but we won't announce until dates are secure. We have brand new Broken Tongue tees only available at shows and with limited stock. Come talk to us about spooky shit and enjoy some metal and pick up a shirt at the next show. On the topic of merch, what do y'all got on today?
Oh, am I going first? I was like, why is the camera on me for so long? So, Houston Dynamo supporter group, The Surge, made a giant tifo, which is a bunch of banners, a bunch of like sheets almost stitched together, and then they paint on it.
Uh-huh.
And,
It's a big-ass blanket.
It's a big blanket, and it is the sickest
It's the
Dynamo
realest
merch that I've owned.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Shout out Sergio.
Shout out Sergio. Shout out.
Yeah, dude,
shout
that
out the
shirt
Surge
is
supporter
sick.
group.
That
It's a
shirt
very
is
cool
sick.
shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Kolby?
And go Dynamo.
So, in the spirit of what we're doing tonight, I decided to wear my Blackcraft shirt again.
Definitely go
got a
check
pentagram.
out.
It's got a pentagram on it.
Definitely go check out the Instagram story because he put us on a quest. It was pretty fun, and he's got something up his sleeve. So we don't know what's going on, but
You'll find
you
out.
look ready for it. And I am rocking a SpecterEsports shirt. I saw that I had some fellow Spectre members here in the chat, but yeah, it's pretty sick. It's a new merch design that we got, and here's the back. It's got some Japanese writing and stuff. It's
Dope.
pretty neat. Go check it out. SpecterEsports. We got a
Hell
whole
yeah.
website with a whole stove and all of that good stuff. But all right, moving on.
Moving on.
What did we draw from Steven Alexander last episode?
So for people that are watching the live stream, we are currently not up to date. We are ahead of schedule. So if
Yes.
you're here watching it live, you're getting a little sneak peek.
Yeah, you're getting a sneak peek.
And this episode will come out
Next Monday.
Monday morning, correct?
Yeah.
Then we'll do another live stream Monday night. That will come out Friday.
So
Okay.
we
We got it,
jumped
we got
the
it, we got it,
gun
we got it.
super hard.
Yeah, but hey, we got it. We're
Yeah.
doing it. So the episode that hasn't come out yet will have Witch drawn from it. So that's what we're doing today. And
Spooky.
mine is going to be a mixture of, it's going to very briefly touch on witchcraft. Like very, very shortly, we're going to get straight into a ritual that involves a shadow person.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
that's dope. Kind of
And then-
reminds me of Game of Thrones.
How?
The redheaded
Oh,
lady.
yeah. Okay.
That was a witch.
Okay, I got you. She was a witch. Oh,
The Wicked Witch of the
Spoiler
East.
alert! She's
Okay.
a witch.
Can you give us a little synopsis of your story?
Okay, so I wrote my story, and it is about someone going to Salem, Massachusetts, which is,
Nice.
if anybody that knows anything about that, that was the home of, the infamous Salem witch trials in the United States. And, yeah, they experienced some spooky stuff.
So my story is what inspired that Salem story.
Ooh, so we're going to have an interconnecting thing there. Nice.
Kind of. Well,
Okay, how do you mean? Because the Salem witch trials were
I shouldn't
a
say
real thing.
inspired though.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because it's not real. Just
Well-
like the moon
Hot take.
landing.
Oh, well, I mean, like
I'm
the
just
Salem
kidding.
trials happened, but
Yeah.
because the Salem trials happened, my story took place way before that, and
Gotcha.
basically the same hysteria that went around during that era. My story is basically where it all began.
This is kind of like what Josh and I, we touched on it before we were like when we were setting stuff up, is that most locations that have some kind of like witch or Wiccan or some kind of thing have had a witch trial event at some point. Salem was just probably the most well documented.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
So witchcraft has been around for many, many years before any of our stories.
Yeah.
Including witch trials, too.
But I was going to say witch trials, I believe, I could be dead ass wrong, but I believe that the story that I'm doing today is the first, like, major, like, witch trial.
So it's not in Salem. This is...
No.
Okay, where is it at?
Sweden.
Swedenheiden. Okay, all right,
The
let's
urge
go.
to do the little sunny line about Swedish politics. It's awful. I'm not going to do it.
All right, so are you going...
So this is going to be the first time that Kolby is going last because he has such a setup here today. We felt bad putting him first.
Yeah, Kolby, you want to give a little flash of what's in front of you? Just a little flash to show, let her...
So-
boom, there's something in front of Kolby that's very scary, and I'm terrified.
So, I can't tell the story without opening...
A portal?
So
without opening the right atmosphere.
how about this?
I feel you.
For audio listeners that can't see it, can you just describe what is on our screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them enticed and stick around for
So-
later when this goes down.
So I got a nice cloth that has a Ouija board
Printed on it.
Basically, it's a nice.
It's a circle cloth, too.
Yeah, it's technically a
tree skirt, isn't
it's
it?
a tree skirt.
Okay,
It's a
yeah.
Christmas tree skirt. Also bought it from Blackcraft.
Oh, nice.
And then basically I use that to make my altar. This is you're looking at an altar.
Oh,
For the people listening.
my goodness.
Give it
People
in
listening,
full
we're
detail.
looking at an altar.
What do we have at the
So
altar?
I have a wooden staging area for each of the elements. I'll get into that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see now.
Yeah. I have the special ingredient in here. I had Caleb and Josh go on a side quest
Yeah.
to get the rest of the ingredients.
Check out the Instagram if you want to see the side quest video.
And this is my favorite candle now too.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
yeah, it's a black lotus candle,
Yeah.
which is pretty neat.
I'll explain
Yeah,
what
yeah.
everything is. Basically, there's a bowl in the center, and then 4 objects around the wooden platform.
Gotcha. Yeah, we can see it. I just wanted the
yeah.
listeners to know and then keep around till the end.
He doesn't want to say everything because he doesn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
spoil
no,
it.
yeah.
But it's like we still
Yeah, you
have
gotta
it.
tiptoe- you gotta
find
tiptoe
out.
around it.
You'll
That's
find
fair.
out in time.
That's fair. Okay, well,
Also,
are we ready?
We need to light the
Oh, we do.
ceremony.
Oh, we got to
candle.
light the ceremonial candle? Oh, shit.
Oh, do we need to get a whole new candle?
It's
no,
fine.
it's fine. That's fine.
It's fine. We're going
I
to light this
forgot
one.
about that.
Fuck. So we went on our side quest, and it made me forget about the main quest, which was to light the to put another fucking ceremonial candle.
We don't have another candle, so we'll light all 3. This is
Well, we
fair.
got the ceremonial candle.
Sure, yeah.
Is over there.
There's going to be a ceremony.
Okay, well, are y'all ready for our first story? Are we settled in
What
enough?
if I said
Yes.
We would take a break and we'd probably pause and
Take a
talk
break.
a little bit
no? Okay. Well, then I'm ready.
This is the story.
Oh.
of the game of the Shadow Man. The game of the Shadow Man is one of the earliest forms of demonic summoning rituals known to the urban legend, world, and witchcraft. Dating as far back as 1200 AD, the ritual has gone under many other titles, the most popular being the Boogeyman Ritual, Satan's Shadow, or simply the Dark Summoning. Many forms of the summoning ritual have come and gone. Most resulted in more failures than actual results. While others simply passed on into obscurity, the ritual is done in order to obtain what is seemingly unattainable. Money, fame, wisdom, demise. Simple or detailed, whatever you desire. This version we're covering is one of the remaining few that yields true results. This tutorial will act as your personal guide on how to perform the game of the Shadow Man. Before enacting the ritual, it is best noted by past reports that the summoner, you, must first be informed on what the Shadow Man is, as to better understand what you're dealing with. The title, Shadow Man, is simply a description of what the being is. A tall, shadowy humanoid figure. The true name of this creature, unknown, though through conversation with the being, it tends to give a variety of names it refers to itself as. The most prominent name it calls itself is simply Shadow.
Reminds me of my dog, Shadow.
This being is a tall, lanky figure appearing masculine in nature. Its skin, pale and gray, and is referred to as rotting while alive in appearance. And its hair is thick ebony black. It's always described as wearing a gray or black coat that covers up everything but its head and hands. However, it always has covers over its eyes, making it impossible to see the figure in its face. Furthermore, the nose is described as abnormally sharp, and the mouth is wide, sharp-toothed smile. Lips are described as charred skin.
Ugh.
The hands of the figure are tipped with a strange black ashy substance from the foremost bend of the finger to the tip, and sharpened at the point. Now that the being has been identified, the ritualistic process can begin. There are 3 steps to this process: preparation, execution, resolution. First, preparation. Before the actual ritual can take place, certain forms of preparation must occur. First, acquire access to a decently sized room that, when closed off, will be completely dark. No light must be able to get into the room during the entirety of the ritual, else it will yield no results. Due to this, it is perfect to act during the darkest hours of the night for best results. This is to give Shadow a place to access during the ritual. Second, grab a pencil and a piece of paper, not a mechanical pencil or a pen, an actual wooden pencil with real graphite. Take them both and draw out your best self-portrait.
Oh.
It seems that realism and details do not matter for the final product.
Okay.
A simple stick figure yields the same results as a detailed portrait.
I was about to say.
After you finish the picture, no matter how good it is or bad, scratch out the eyes. Scratch them out with that same pencil. Make it as thick and dark as possible. Make sure the eyes are completely blotted out and they cannot be seen. This is to allow Shadow to have a form and to allow an entity to flow into the picture. Most claim that, regardless of what you draw, it will adopt a very similar appearance to that of the drawer. Added with this, find any piece of cloth that you have worn in the last month or so. This is to add another layer to the formation of Shadow, and sadly, you'll be losing this article of clothing in the process. If it's something in pairs, use both. Third and finally, acquire 12 identical candles. This will be both your portal and defense against Shadow.
What if it's a Jewish
Has to be 12.
chick candle?
Has to be 12, and he'll explain why. The following must also be obtained and will be used during the execution process: a lighter, a sharp object, preferably a knife, a pair of gloves and socks, which you will wear, black ink, printer or pen ink is fine, though a decent amount is needed. Now that you have obtained all the necessary items, it's time to begin the ritual. Start by going into the selected room, measuring out a space wide enough to perform with. The best way to test is to stick your arms out, side to side, and spin around in a circle. If you hit anything, it's not big enough. It's okay before you begin to have a light in the room to see what you're doing. Begin placing your candles in a circle, spaced out. You measure them, spread out equally apart. And once you have them all set up, light them all. Now, close off any light to the room. Make sure the entire room sectioned off has no light absolutely whatsoever. Go to your circle of candles using the ink. Go to the 12 candles and put out each fire with the ink of each candle. For better reference, let me reread that last part. Go to your circle of 12 candles and put out the fire on every other candle.
Okay.
For better reference, imagine the candles like a clock and put out the ones placed at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. This is the beginning of the ritualistic process. And as said in reports, this is the portal for Shadow to enter through. If at any moment you wish to back out, simply light up one of the dead candles. However, whatever you do, do not have more candles out than on. These candles are your one and only safety net, and if you make a mistake, it will not end well. Continuing forward, make sure you have your gloves and socks both on as an added layer of protection. Even with the candle circle, it is very important to have a layer of clothing as well. Take the pre-selected article of clothing you wish to use, set it in the middle of the circle, taking caution not to distort the circle, and stain it with the remainder of your ink. Following that, take your sharp object and cut a diagonal line through the top to bottom. Once you've done that, slip the drawing into the clothing. If it's too small to fit inside, simply lay the drawing on top. Now burn it. Take the lighter and burn the drawing. You won't need a sharp object for any other reason afterwards. And as said before, your lighter can be used if you wish to back out during the ritual. However, if you back out, never attempt the ritual again. Now, the next stage is one that requires the most self-conflicting action.
Uh-oh.
While the picture is burning, stand back and begin to think of one particular thing. Hate. Think of things you despise.
Always.
Things you find horrid and disgusting. Things you could harm or kill over.
Why can't it be rainbows and unicorns?
Focus on these things and begin to say the words, shadow. It's not so much a chant, but you will need to repeat the word over and over again. Shadow. Shadow.
We have a lot of candles right now.
Shadow.
Everything is set up. There is light, though.
Slowly, the room around you will
freaking me
shift. It will turn from black and white to a crimson and magenta.
What the fuck?
The air will seem ashy and stale, hard to breathe properly. And from the center of your circle, a figure will begin to rise. That is shadow. You will know when it has fully entered the room, when all of a sudden it goes quiet. Even if it was already silent to begin with, it will become a deafening silence. Focus your breathing. Steady your mind. Give your undivided attention to shadow. This is where the final stage comes into play. You have brought it into your realm to make a deal with it. So as long as you are aware of everything that you and it both say, you can converse as you please. There is no penalty in conversation, and you can talk for however long you would like. But the ultimate deciding factor is the deal that it provides. You can ask shadow for anything you desire, fame, fortune, even murder if you so choose. You can be as simple or as descriptive as possible. However, you must be aware that what is said for both sides of the bet must follow through. Be extremely careful that anything you wager will not harm you, loved ones, friends, family, anything. This bet will be irreversible. Following your request, Shadow will raise its hand to you, shake your hand in confirmation of the deal, and as long as you have those gloves on, as long as you have the gloves on to take its hand and cement the deal, everything will be fine. Before you realize it, Shadow will disappear. The ritual has been complete, and while it may not come immediately, your reward will eventually be provided. But there is one more thing to take care of. The gloves. Immediately strip them off and throw them into the circle. Set them on fire. Light all the candles on fire. Do anything you can to discard of the evidence. Shadow knows what you have done. But so long as you've destroyed the evidence, it cannot track you. From this point, you will have successfully won the game of the Shadow Man. You're free to live your life as you please without fear or consequence. What you wished for will come to you naturally. If it was money, you will get bonuses and raises. If it was fame, word of you will get around very quickly and people will start taking a liking towards you. That being said, a few individuals may still be questioning something at this point. What would happen if you were to fail? If you retried the ritual at a previous attempt, failed in the step of execution, or did not get rid of the evidence, what's going to happen? The details of failure are blurry, mainly because not many people who failed are alive. However, there have been a few select reports that detail what might just happen. It's said that when someone fails, the consequences are not immediately noticeable. It may start off as a voice or a visual problem, but soon you will start to notice strange changes in your life. Changes that will affect your mind. Most reports show once healthy people developing symptoms of schizophrenia, PTSD, crippling anxiety after a failure. But the worst part is not during the waking hours. There was only one report of this, but it said that dreams are something like a trip to hell. You can feel and hear it all. No further reports are known of those who have failed. All people who have failed were claimed dead not longer than a week after attempting the ritual. Now, with all the thoughts of those failures in mind, what is it that you truly desire?
Okay, so that's Shadow Man is Mr. Satan himself. That's what that is.
That's kind of what it's set up to be.
Caleb once again fucking my mind.
That's what you want?
No.
Oh. Dude, that was creepy, dude. Like
It's very weird going first.
I'm gonna do it.
I
I'm gonna do it right
weird?
now.
It is weird because you got to set the vibe for everyone. That's
and that was a good way to set the vibe.
I'm gonna do the ritual right now.
okay.
Right now?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
We got
We
another
have
ritual to
all
get
of
to.
the things for you to be able to do
Post
that.
podcast.
Post podcast, we're
Yep.
doing the ritual.
Yep.
Okay.
So if the podcast blows up, you know why.
It's not dark outside.
That's what you would ask for.
I don't
the
know.
podcast to blow up.
It's not
No,
outside.
I wouldn't ask for shit. I'd be like, I'm going home. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you didn't complete it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be a part of it in the first place.
Yeah, Shadow Man, Shadow, he's part of it.
Oh man, you were like
You're
kind
locked
of
in.
reciting the shit, and it was like we
Yeah.
have everything here.
Yeah, there was no incantation or anything in that one, so that
True.
was nice.
So that's pretty cool. It also like isn't that kind of to like pertain to the whole topic of witches, like the Sabbath, the Black Sabbath,
Yeah.
in a way.
Similar,
like
yeah.
that's pretty neat. That's
A weird little twist on
it's
it.
creepy as hell. And the thing is, one thing that I was thinking about, not to like shoot down on it, but it said
Go
no
ahead.
light, but then it has the candles, and the candles make light.
Well, that was the point. No extra light. You can
Oh.
only be
Light
able to
from the
see from the
outside.
candles.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like,
Yeah. The thing that gets me,
That's why I said it's not dark yet. We can't do it yet.
the
Yeah.
things that gets me about rituals like that is whenever it says like, if you want to back out, relight one of your old candles, but do not have more lights out than you have on. Like, why? Like,
yeah,
what
it's-
about that?
Yeah, the fact that it's being specific
Yeah.
about something and saying like you need to do it this way
Yeah.
or else. and
Those are
it's
the
like-
things that creep me out.
it's like
it
tug of
makes
war.
it more real.
It's like tug of war. Once you get past a certain point, there's no.
Oh,
going
that's
back.
how you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I guess
what
I can see
freaks
that.
me out is why do they say it?
Because it's real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He takes
You don't like
takes-
that answer.
Yeah.
You're like,
whenever
oh, okay.
whenever there's a majority darkness, he takes it over.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm next, huh?
Yes, you are next.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass the bone so we don't forget the boner.
Okay.
The boner of stories. So, my phone. I wrote my story because, like, I don't know. I've really started to enjoy writing stories. It's super fun.
It is fun.
So my story takes place in Salem, Massachusetts, because witches, and it's about someone going because they're super into the paranormal and supernatural, and that's a bucket list for anybody who's into this
Yeah.
kind of shit. They want to go and experience it because Salem is filled with magic in the air, and a lot of the houses that are still there that were
Yeah.
there back then during the Salem witch trials, and they've got museums. They've
Crabs.
embraced
They
their
got a
dark
lot of
past.
Crabs.
Huh?
Like crabs.
They've got crabs, a lot of crabs, both kinds.
Are we supposed to get that?
What?
Are we supposed to get that?
No, literal crabs.
Yeah.
Oh, is it littered with crabs?
I mean,
No, literal. I didn't mean it in like a joke. They got a lot of crabs.
That's what I'm saying. Is like,
Yeah.
is there
but he
just a crab
said it in the
infestation?
means.
No, there's just a lot of them. They're not overrun.
You're so concerned. You're like, is this a problem?
Listen,
Like,
if I'm going to Salem, I can't be around crabs.
They're
You don't
not-
like
they're
crabs?
Not overrun.
do you not like crabs?
No, I don't have a problem with crabs.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that like a weird fear, like
No.
me with dolls?
No,
like, you
I
don't
dove
like
into
crabs?
it head first, so I had to finish it. I had to keep going. My apologies.
All
Continue
right.
with your story.
Yeah, no, you're good. All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and start. This is the story, The Dark Alleys of Salem. Witches. What is the one town in the United States that comes to mind when you hear that term? Salem, Massachusetts. Now, this beautiful town with a dark history has embraced its horrifying past. You see so many shops and stores talking about witches, museums, restaurants, all with witch in the name. So many people flock here to get a taste of the town's dark past and hopefully experience something paranormal. I was one such person. so determined to see the ghost of a witch or some creepy feeling in one of the still standing homes that are now tourist attractions. Downtown is gorgeous. The roads still have the cobblestone and feel and look. It's breathtaking, and I would almost want to move there if I hadn't experienced what I'm about to tell you. So I went alone to Salem. None of my friends I have could go with me. This was something on my bucket list, and I had saved up enough money to spend a whole week in Salem, so I went in anyways, by myself. I saw every site I could find. I went to the Salem Witch Museum, took a picture outside the House of Seven Gables. Pretty much any tourist attraction has my footprint now. The last night I was going to be in town, I said, fuck it. I'm going to just walk around at night and take it all in one last time. There was some kind of festival going on from the looks of things, that or just everyone was out and about that night. I was walking through the street a little after the sun went down, taking in the air filled with magic. I could hear people chatting about spooky witches and children running, laughing, and playing. The further I walked, though, the less people I saw. It got to the point where all I would see is the occasional person walking towards the fun from the quote-unquote finally found parking spot. Then slowly, the music and sound of life faded, and I realized I was all alone. After a few minutes, the air started to get stuffy. I realized I had gone too far. It seemed like the lampposts were just not bright enough, like they were barely fighting back the darkness. I figured most of the streets ran side by side, so I decided to cut through an alley to turn around. I wanted to have a new scenery on my way back. This was a big mistake. The next alley I saw was dark. I'm not a wuss though, so I took it. I couldn't see the other street, but I figured the alley couldn't be all that long, and I would be out the other side and making my way back to the motel in no time flat. Plus, I would get to experience some new sights on my way back, lit up by the moon and the street lamps. Into the dark alley I went. After about 30 seconds, I started to regret my decision. The air was at least 15 degrees colder as soon as the darkness of the alley took me. I almost turned around, but curiosity and stubbornness won that fight. I rounded the alley corner, and that's when everything hit. The air got even colder. I could see my breath. I took about 10 steps, and then I heard something. It sounded like heavy breathing right over my left shoulder. It grew louder and louder with each step. That's when I turned my head to look, and nothing. It stopped as soon as I looked behind me. I shuddered and turned back to continue walking. As soon as I turned back to continue my journey through the dimly lit alley, I saw her, standing no more than 15 steps away from me. A frail and twisted body of a woman. Black hair, almost looked wet and matted in front of her face. I jumped back. She wasn't there before. She was looking down, hair blocking her face. Her shoulders and upper half of her body kept twitching in a weird way. I laughed a little, a nervous tick I do whenever I'm uncomfortable. She was in the middle of the tight alley. I had to pass her to keep going. I spoke out. "You kind of startled me there. I didn't see you as I was coming up," I said nervously. "Does this alley lead to the other side of the street?" I couldn't finish my sentence before she started to move, twitching and slowly lifting her head. The alley was dark, but the moon and my eyes adjusted to the dark allowed me to see her face. Her eyes were black as the night sky, and her irises glowing white as snow. She wore the most sinister and crooked grin I had ever seen. She lifted her bony hand. Her sharp claw-like fingernails glistened in the moonlight. She pointed at me and whispered the loudest whisper I had ever heard. "Guilty." My body jumped into fight or flight mode. I chose flight and instantly turned around and started running. I knew I wasn't that far from the entrance to the alley. I had to get out of there, to people, to the light of the street lamps. As soon as my feet started to move, she shrieked. Arms both stretched out towards me, moving at a pace faster than I could think to outrun. I pushed myself as hard as I could. Where is the turn in the alley, I thought. She was upon me. I could hear her whispering over and over again, "Guilty, guilty, 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 guilty." As she gained on me at lightning speed. Seconds felt like hours of running straight. Where is that turn in the alley? I only made it like 40 or 50 paces in. I need to get out of here, I thought. And then I was out of the alley. I almost ran right into the street. The air was different. I could hear people, and the lamps shined so bright I had to shield my eyes. I turned around and watched her bright, glowing white irises fade into the darkness of the alley. Then, just as I blinked, the alley was a straight shot. I could literally see to the other side of the street. No turn, no blinding darkness. I ran back the way I came, not even daring to try that alley again. Screw this, I've seen enough of this town, I said. I made it to my motel in roughly 10 minutes. I ran past all the people enjoying the night, certainly feeling their concerned gaze. I didn't sleep at all. Worried whatever that was would come get me in my sleep. I only saw her glowing eyes when I closed mine anyways. After I got home, I researched that area, the streets I was walking on and such. Turns out they would drag women who were declared witches through that alley on the way to the stake. I firmly believe I ran into one of the spirits of those accused witches, out for revenge on anyone who would be unlucky enough to take that alley at night. Salem is a beautiful place with a dark past that still haunts the present to this very day. So how is that?
That's pretty goddamn good.
Thank you.
Personally, I think that was your best one yet.
Really?
That one got me pretty good.
Dude, so I drew inspiration from a lot of things. There's a story that I saw that was an account, a apparent true account, where that happened in Romania, where the guy was going through that alleyway I was telling you about, and then he ended up finding out that was like a thing, is what they would do is when they were taking him to the stake. You know, movies kind of portray it as this thing where they're like nudging him along, like go to the gallows kind of thing, and
pulling
it's
him by the hair.
yeah, like literally like dragging him through the street. People are kicking him, hitting him, spitting on him, like all that kind of shit. And so like I took that, and then whenever I was researching spooky witch stories, this picture came up of this like witch lady, like she was like squatted down and she was like looking up at the camera, and her hands were all pointy and creepy, and her eyes were the black with the white irises, and I was like, that's my fucking witch. Yeah.
Is that going to be the one? Is it going to be on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm going to get that picture. Yeah. It's fucking creepy. Like I looked at it and I was like, oh, like, you know, when you see pictures and you're like, no, like that's like how it was for me. And I was like, that's my witch for the story.
It was similar to like Ashley when she saw the picture of the Star Child for the first time.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. No, that's actually that's a perfect example. Yeah, I was like, that's what I'm fucking trying to portray right there. Yeah, but thank you for liking it.
Very good story.
Thank you. I'm super pumped. So we got our stories out of the way. So that means now it's time for Kolby's crazy whatever is going to happen.
This is going to be the first episode where we have a thing going on, not off of the podcast.
Oh, that's
true.
Usually
we end podcasts after our stories, and then we do Spirit Box or Ouija board.
Yeah.
This will be the first one.
So
that
this is going to be happening, and is going to be on the recording for the actual podcast.
So I don't know the story or anything, but I will implore, if you're listening, maybe check in on YouTube at this point.
Yeah.
To see the visuals of all this. I don't know how visually driven this is going to be, but
do you want us to try and like narrate what's going on while you're doing it, or is it a part of the ritual where you say what you're doing?
I mean, I'll describe what I'm doing.
Okay.
So
for the people that don't want to see our faces.
I'm so nervous right now.
So this isn't a ritual, like a known ritual. It's basically I made it up.
Don't say that. You should have told us it was the most real one. Then I would have been way more nervous. Okay.
But you know, okay.
Yeah, you're not nervous.
But
yes,
to help.
The thing, I still know that you're still doing the actions.
Yeah.
Like whether or not it's
rituals come from something regardless. Like somebody created it. So he could be making up his own shit right now and it actually work. What if this is the only ritual that works?
So I thought
this man got a whole bowl of stuff that he sent us on our side quest to go get.
So I thought, what better way to start my story
Oh God, are you gonna do it as you're telling the story?
No. No.
Okay, so you're gonna start the story.
We're
with the
gonna
ritual.
do this first, and then I'm gonna tell my
All right,
story.
so he's ripping leaves off of like a
A little branch.
little branch thing,
Yeah. So I need fresh leaves, and I
Okay.
also need dead leaves.
and he
We
got
got
dead
both.
leaves in there too. Yeah,
Get
Y'all did
both.
a great job. Thank you.
thank you. It's documented on our Instagram if you want to go see
yeah.
the adventure.
3 shillings.
What the fuck is
You
that
wanna hit
noise?
this camera?
Yeah. Here we go. All right.
What? 3 shillings? I don't have any money on.
What is
No,
that?
no,
yeah,
no, no,
a
no,
shilling.
You get 3 shillings for doing the side quest.
Okay. I thought we
So
had to
we're
pay
doing
to be
all of
part
this just for 3 fucking shillings.
Bitch.
Listen, 3 shillings is a killing. That's more than I make in a
Yeah.
month.
It's the what is it? The currency rate or whatever
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
like
the exchange
different
rate. It's just
exchange
crazy.
rate. Yeah,
So Kolby
nice
is.
bark.
I know that
I
is.
love
I'm
the
very
bark.
very proud
yeah.
of that.
It,
bark.
it looked nice coming off of the tree
It's a
too.
good bark.
Kolby's just putting dry leaves, live leaves, bark, moss, all into a little bowl that is sitting atop a pentagram.
Okay, so
board.
what I was saying is
And then
And now ash to top it off.
The
I'm
ash
getting
of-
mighty hungry.
what
I am too.
what better way than to start than to invite the king of all fallen angels,
Satan,
Santa.
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 But no, legitimately.
Wait, what?
What
Is that
you got
what
there?
is that?
Okay, we don't know what
I
this
swear
is.
to God, if that's
Kolby just
blood,
opened a little Dybbuk box.
we're gonna have to end stream because
And-
that's gonna.
And somewhere along the way, he took
Don't
one of my
worry about
film.
it.
He took
Don't-
one of my film roll
No,
canisters.
no, that's mine. That's mine.
Caleb was like, "Wait, where's the film at?
So-
That's what I care about."
So the main ingredients are in the center bowl.
Okay, so let's go through that again. So it's bark, dead leaves.
You basically want live nature and dead nature, and
Okay.
Okay.
And then now you're pouring
ash,
now
ash
you're-
of.
Yeah, because ash fertilizes the ground. Now you're pouring water into a shot glass.
So we have. So basically, this is our altar, and
Wait, do we need to do that? Oh, okay, sorry.
chill.
I would not be good at this shit. I'd be too impatient.
So when putting your altar together, you want earth, you want water, you want air, and you want fire. The 4 elements.
Okay. Okay. This is becoming educational.
So now we shall light the fire.
And for listeners, we have a candle. We have
Yeah,
a
it is
shot
a
glass
black
of water.
candle, black
We have
lotus
a
candle.
Little pot with earth in it, and then a balloon which represents air.
Earth with some
And then
earth.
the bowl with all our ingredients in the center.
So now we are ready.
I'm so nervous, dude.
The blood of the innocents.
He's actually looking real freaked out. So Kolby opened a film canister and poured out a slightly more viscous than water liquid that is blood red into our bowl of ingredients.
Repeat after me.
No, I ain't repeating shit.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Raise the devil to our door.
Raise the devil to our door.
Call the pig, the wolf, the ram.
Call the pig, the wolf, the ram.
Come to the circle, all who can.
Come to the circle, all who can.
Make him walk on floor to roof.
Make him walk on floor to roof.
Drink to him with horn and hoof.
Drink to him with horn and hoof.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The devil is here. Now sleep no more.
The devil is here. Now sleep no more.
Do you feel him?
No.
I was hoping something would happen.
Where did you get that?
Cruar, Innocentia, Maleficarium, Pestintiala, Walpurgis not, Consumatum est. Now it begins,
Why you gotta look at me, bro?
and all the world shall be yours in return.
Do you hear a clicking noise?
It's the candles.
Oh.
So my story,
All right. Okay.
my story is it's about a little woman named Marette Johnsdotter,
All right.
and what have been dubbed the Mora Witch Trials.
You say Mora?
Mora.
In Sweden?
I still Marette Johnsdotter, born I'm gonna fuck this up a lot. Born 1644, was an alleged Swedish witch. She is one of the most known victims of the persecutions of sorcery in her country. She was the first person accused of this in the great witch hysteria called Det Stora Ovensendet, which translates to the Great Noise. Her trial unleashed the beginning of the real witch hunt in Sweden, which was to cause the death of around 400 people in 8 years,
Damn.
with a record-setting 71 beheadings in one day.
Holy shit. Oh, you know what? I think I stumbled on this story too, doing research.
Which I'll add that it was topped by a Serbian event where it was pretty recent, like the 90s, I would say. I think it said 90 something people were beheaded. And so that...
Because I thought they were
that
witches?
took, no.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about the record for most beheadings.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Who's keeping count of that?
Guinness.
Apparently the Serbians.
Oh, man.
If somebody mentions Sweden, a beautiful Nordic country, what images appear in your mind?
Sweet people.
I instantly think high standards of living, a bit cold climate, lovely landscapes, Vikings, ABBA, IKEA,
That's true.
death metal.
Yeah. Swedish death metal.
These associations, even if correct nowadays, didn't prepare me in any way for the story I found not so long ago. It is known that historical facts can be a lot stranger and scarier than spooky tales, but this one exceeded my expectations. It started like an avalanche. One small lie stemming from a hurt teenage pride. Of course, the ground had to be prepared beforehand, and I suppose some people just had been waiting for this small spark all along. Too harsh winter, too little food, some unknown diseases, and even bad weather might have contributed to the whole atmosphere. In the autumn of 1667, a little shepherd boy, Mats Nilsson, claimed to have seen a girl walking on the water. The girl's name was Gertrude Svensdotter.
Gertrude.
The boy had tended a herd of sheep with the same girl, and they had a fight. Apparently the girl had beaten the boy up. She was 12 years old. Now what would you do if your son or younger brother told you such a thing about one of his schoolmates? Probably you would laugh him off or even punish for being such an incurable little liar. The boy's parents, though, took him to a priest named Lars Elvius, and the priest believed in his story. Gertrude Svensdotter was interrogated by the priest afterwards. Perhaps Lars was a bit too thrilled to discover supernatural activity amongst his parishioners, and perhaps he was just afraid of evil and wanted to make sure he wasn't dealing with a witch. After long talks with him scared, Gertrude finally confessed that while she lived with her parents, a neighbor's maid had taken her to the devil. The name of the maid was Marette Johnsdotter. Gertrude claimed that in 1663, when she was 8, Marette had taken her on a walk. They had passed a sand pit and then came to a three-way crossroads, where Marette had cried out, "Thou devil, come forward." She claimed that Satan had then appeared in the shape of a vicar. They had dined, and the following night, Mirette had come to Gertrude and smeared her body with one of the father's cows with red oil. After which they flown away through the chimney all the way to a place called Blockula.
It's like Santa Claus and Dracula and shit all put together. Nice.
You'll learn about Blockula here in a second. Since then, Gertrude had often visited Blockula, milked cattle with familiars, smeared her feet with oil to walk on water, and taken children to Blockula, where their names had been written in a book with black pages. The reason she admitted this was that she had met an angel in Blockula, a man in white, who had told her to confess, or else a hunger epidemic would sweep over the kingdom. Gertrude's confession came after another shepherd boy, 15-year-old Eric Erickson, had reported that he had a vision in the woods where he was sucked up in the air and saw Gertrude sit in Blockula with the children she had taken, among them his little sister. You should notice that the fact that it wasn't enough for Eric to present his testimony once, but he was immediately given full credit by the priest of having revealed the whole affair. Once again, nobody even tried to cross-check the boy's story as they should. Blockula was a legendary meadow where the devil held his earthly court during a witch's Sabbath. This meadow could only be reached by a magical flight. It was described as a delicate, large meadow whereof you can see no end. Reading the description of Blockula, I kept wondering what made serious people believe in such stories. Apparently they must have wanted rather badly to find supernatural explanations to their ailments in the first place, and their faith must have been approved and confirmed by some higher moral authorities, be them laypersons or clerical officials. No matter what their reasons were, the confession of Gertrude was the starting point of the famous moral witch trials, and Mirette Johnsdottir became the first victim, but not the only one. Gertrude may be forced to do so, or maybe being simply on a roll, pointed out 7 others. So began the real witch hunt in Sweden, a country where witch trials had previously been a rarity. In September 1668, Mirette Johnsdottir was called to the court to answer the accusations. The story about the children's stay in the witch's Sabbath in Blockula spread rapidly, and everywhere children started to talk about it and make up other stories, setting the tongues wagging and pointing the fingers at people, often from their closest family, mostly women. The story spread across the parishes and increased when the priest made the verdicts public by announcing them in a church as a warning. Children's confessions were very similar to the first ones, and were to be a standard for the following witch trials of 1668 through 1676.
I was like 19. Oh.
One of their quotes from Seducimus Triumphatus. Let's get a little edgy here. In Blockula, people partied as if at a wedding. They drank, ate, danced, and had sex by the light of candles that were placed in vaginas, while Satan sat under the table and laughed, so that the whole room shook and the fire of hell poured up from a hole in the floor.
Well, that escalated fast.
Where you could see the tormented souls in hell. You danced with your backs toward each other, as well as doing everything else backwards. Married several people at the same time, and had sex with them and with Satan himself, and with his devils and demons, whose penises were cold, and whose sperm was made of water, and gave birth to frogs that were swept up from the floor with a broom, and were made into butter. When you woke up afterwards, your body ached, the food you had eaten had vanished, and made you hungry, and the gifts you had received had turned to wood chip. As you see in every age, children knew more about sex and other forbidden practices than the adults wanted them to know. Strange thing, the kidnapped children, apart from Satan and his demons, also claimed to have seen angels. The angels' role was far from precise. They pulled the devil's food away from the children's hands, cried tears as big as crystals, and asked them to confess so the witches could be exterminated and send the message that one should not have to work on Thursdays, nor use shirts with frilled sleeves, and not have to sell tobacco above its fairest price. Apparently those were the woes of the day. Lack of leisure time, frilled sleeves, not accessible to everyone, and high prices of tobacco. I just wonder why angels didn't know about that.
Interesting.
I just wonder why angels didn't know about the hazards of smoking. I suppose it's easy to guess why children so eagerly decided to include angels in their accounts. Their situation was rather dubious. They were not only victims of the witches, but also their accomplices. They had sworn themselves to the devil, eaten his food, and had sex. To claim angelic help was believed to be a way for the children to point out that they had been innocent victims after all. In some cases it worked, in some not so much. More problematic is finding the answer to the question why the court was never very interested in the angels. They asked the children if the angels really did try to stop them from eating Satan's food, but they never inquired why they didn't stop them from doing worse, such as having sex with the demons. Perhaps it was a minor issue for the judges. On April 1st, 1669, Marette Johnsdotter and another defendant, Widow Karen, were judged guilty against their own words. There was a problem, however. Swedish law forbade the execution of anyone who had not confessed their crime, no matter if they were found guilty or not. Neither of the women was willing to admit any guilt, and they continued to plead innocent, just as they had done from the day they were accused. Perhaps they had a hunch such a move could save their life, or perhaps they were simply more stubborn than the others. This put the court in a dilemma. They decided upon a plan to solve this legal problem. Apparently the aim from the onset was not to find out the truth, but to get the women to confess and make it possible to execute them. The priests were to persuade them to confess by using religious arguments. They were instructed to lie and tell them that they were to be executed whether they confessed or not. But if they confessed, they would receive Holy Communion and thereby go straight to heaven. They were to be taken to the place of execution believing this, given the communion, and the execution would be conducted afterwards. The whole plan was put in effect and conducted just as described. At the place of execution, Marette and Corinne were told that they could confess and receive communion or deny all. Both chose to say no to communion and deny the charges. The frustrated authorities then had no choice but to escort Marette Johnsdotter and Corinne back to prison. Gertrude Svensdotter, the girl who started the folly, and the siblings of Marette, also accused in this trial, were flogged, then released. The remaining people were acquitted, but the hysteria was hard to stop. Soon, 23 people were put on trial for the abducting of children to Satan. And on May 19th, 1669, 8 people were executed as a result of the process against Marette Johnsdotter. Throughout this time, she had remained in prison, exposed to continuous religious persuasion. Jesus. From the priests to confess her sin. During 4 years' imprisonment and attempts to brainwash her, she continued to declare her innocence and refused to confess. She never did confess. She was sentenced and executed all the same. On April 16th, 1672, despite her constant denial, Sve Hovrat, the Swedish Court of Appeal, declared Marette guilty of sorcery due to all the incriminating testimonies. And the devil's mark on her finger, she was decapitated and burned. That was a little thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning. She had a triangle thing on her finger, like a birthmark. And apparently that was believed to be the sign of the devil.
Man.
She was judged together with 34 people. Of them, 4 defendants, including 3 women, received a death sentence. Of the condemned, Moret Johnsdotter and a man named Powell Moret were the only ones who were executed without having confessed guilty. The rest all admitted guilt. There is not much known about the final execution apart from the fact that it happened. The court declared that her mere denial cannot help her nor free her from the life sentence. The same year, the court had noticed that several people accused had become aware that they would escape a death sentence if they maintained their innocence, and therefore, 1 of the 8 people executed for witchcraft had been executed without a confession. It was declared no longer necessary with a confession in the case of witchcraft. Jesus. The witch hysteria continued to rage through the country until the execution of another woman in Stockholm in 1676. The next year, to avoid any further witch trials, the government ordered the priests to declare through the churches that all witches had now been expelled from the country forever. Apparently, finally everyone had just had enough of it. As the witch hunts occurred also in plenty of other countries at that time, you might wonder what the reasons of such atrocities. Some historians say witchcraft accusations were a social mechanism, resolving conflicts within any given community and providing an easy explanation of misfortunes happening to people on their daily life. Yes?
Your candle flame is freaking out.
It's been doing that.
It has been doing that.
Is that a thing for those candles?
It's a wood wick.
I'm channeling.
That's Satan.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
This hysteria, however, seemed to be more horrible exactly, because it explained nothing, and it involved children as well as weakest people from any given community. Outcasts, women living alone, spinsters or widows, and solitary men. Scapegoats. It was enough that a deranged or angry child testified against you, and your life could turn into a nightmare and terminate prematurely. Take the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins, in which children and teenagers were turned into weapons and killers. Sadistic government which could be blamed for the children's fate as they were organizing and supporting the whole horrible entertainment. Although in the 17th century Sweden, people must have supported witch hunts, and certainly some priests had forced children to testify. I've noticed that there were also those boys and girls who cast suspicion and accused their family and friends out of their free will, simply for the heck of it. In some cases, they were in turn accused, judged guilty, and actually sentenced to death for committing perjury. Facts are always stranger than fiction. Compare it to any average ghost story.
Holy shit. Dude, that's crazy. And yeah, I remember doing research on the witch stuff, and yeah, that was pretty much like kind of the start of the mass hysteria craze of all of that. And you were talking about the birthmark thing, and that reminds me of one of the things that they would do is they would test witches by poking at birthmarks.
Oh, really?
And it was like if you didn't react to it or something, like it meant that was like that was where their familiar would suckle on them and get energy or whatever. Yeah. And they went as far as to like they would have like needles that would retract. That's what it was. So if you didn't feel anything when they poked you with a needle, then that meant that it was a thing for the familiar.
That was a location,
But if it bled and it hurt, then that means that it was just a birthmark.
Yeah.
And so they would have needles that would retract. They would go in so that they could be like, "Yep, see, that's a familiar thing," and all that kind of shit. If a familiar is like a spirit of like some kind of animal or something that they summon to do their bidding or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Are you gonna light that on fire?
Possibly. I was hoping there was more information about like the witchy shit that she did.
That
But
was the struggle that I found.
yeah,
Is actually finding the stuff.
Well, that's
that
the
they did.
thing is like most of the witch trial stuff, like these people were accused just because people didn't
Yeah.
fucking
yeah,
like them.
yeah,
Like,
that was the whole like 2/3 of my story was that whole like situation.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
I think we're going to be able to find like more stories on like the actual processes and everything is going to be when we start to delve into voodoo. So,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
voodoo is
yeah.
much more. It's still looked down upon in some of those areas, but it's a much more common practice than like witchcraft.
like you
was
can
always
actually
like
go
a-
to like Louisiana
Yeah,
and
and
go
it's
to
still
a voodoo
practiced.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did y'all think of the shit they had to do to get to the special place?
Dude,
You talking
They
about flying.
They flew on a cow.
they flew on a cow.
So this is one thing that I love.
the candle in the
and-
vagina was
and
interesting.
Walked on water.
Yeah,
And then also apparently their little wieners or big whatever were cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what?
So I don't know how much y'all dive into like Greek mythology and everything, but around the same era as all that, you have Norse mythology, which is a whole other
Yeah.
realm of things. And
Yeah.
they were much like the Greeks and Romans. They were much more open about sex and everything like
Yeah.
that. So that's why that story kind of it wasn't as like taboo for the time, at least for me, because I was putting myself in that era, you know. But still very weird to hear it like said, and you know, like it's
Yeah,
it's,
it's
crazy.
like,
It's just
what?
crazy stuff. Plus, they were children. Was
Yeah.
like the whole other thing.
Yeah, and that's not.
Which again, era stuff, you know, like back then it was
True.
more common. Doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
by
exactly.
Any means. But it's just it's crazy that that it's real. Like it happened.
And I mean,
you
like
know?
even like stuff like the Black Sabbath stuff. I mean, that was essentially witches summoning the devil to have sex with him. Like that's what that was. Man, that reminds me. I wonder. You know what that makes me think of? You know, when we talked a couple episodes back, or one episode back, because they haven't heard it yet. But with the Mothman, talked about cryptids and the Jersey Devil. It's like,
Yeah.
was that dude's mom's? Was she a witch?
Oh yeah.
Because apparently he was the offspring of that woman, and
Oh,
god,
we're lighting something.
That-
Which one do you? Oh, you got the exorcism one. Cool. With
oh,
an upside down cross.
fantastic! So Colby lit the
Colby,
exorcism draw,
there's an open flame that is not a candle
Yeah.
in the house right now.
and he's going.
Colby's
to,
on fire. Wow, that's crazy. He is
He's-
burning up so quickly.
Yeah,
This is insane.
He's not even yelling. What is that about? And he lit the stuff that he put in the bowl. Is this a plastic bowl?
It doesn't look like it.
It's not a plastic bowl, is it?
We'll find out.
That's for sure plastic.
That shit gonna
That's
melt,
for sure
bro.
plastic.
It's fine.
That shit gonna melt. It's
That's
gonna
fine. Is
melt.
that your mama's
all
bowl?
over there.
The bottom's covered in blood.
Is that your mama's
Fine.
bowl or is that your
Bottom
bowl?
is covered in blood. Oh man. Well, that did it. That was uneventful.
So that
Just
completes
wait.
your
Give him
ritual.
time.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that
totally.
completes your ritual. Do you have any last words for the big man downstairs? Well, like before you.
He's right there.
He's right there. No, I can't see him.
Oh, he's sitting in the staff chair.
Like, do you want to talk to him real quick? Let him know that he's welcome.
I talk to him every night.
Yeah, well, you can let him know that I wasn't a part of this, and I don't
No.
want to talk to him.
No, you repeated the words.
You did repeat
Yeah,
the
I
words.
did
You're
repeat
for
the
sure part
words.
of this.
God damn it! Smells like burnt plastic now. All right, so that was your story was awesome. So next up, we
I
are
really
going
wish
to
something
draw
fucking happened.
from Stephen Alexander.
I thought this was going to relate to your story.
No,
Okay, just wanted to do a ritual. Okay.
No, is it my
no.
turn? Whose turn is
Legit,
it?
I tried so hard to find an actual ritual. The only thing I could
It's
find
very
is
hard.
how to set up a fucking altar.
Well,
Yeah.
while
I think
Josh
that's
draws-
because technically, like we said before you started doing it, is like the whole situation where it's not about necessarily the rich. It's more about the religious, the ritualistic part is the combination of the elements, the things like that. What you say, I don't think necessarily matters as much.
Yeah, but
It's the same thing that we talked about.
I'm fully inviting demons to come
Yeah, that's
join
true.
us.
It's the same thing that we talked about with like the Conjuring, where they're making the voodoo dolls. or
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
not
That's
being
what
a
I'm.
real
That's
thing
what I'm trying to say. Exactly. All right. What did I draw from Stephen Alexander?
I love how y'all didn't freak out about the blood though.
yet.
Ooh.
It was freaky.
So
weird.
No, but that's real blood.
You know, I believe you.
Okay.
it better not be real blood.
Did ass. Taste it.
I'm not gonna taste it. Where the fuck did you get real blood from? I don't want to know.
The blood store. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a blood store. So I drew serial killers.
Ooh, okay.
So this could possibly be our first true crime episode. Next
Yeah.
episode.
Let's just say Kenai has a couple stitches.
Oh, don't you
I'm not
dare
a dog
talk about
man.
hurting your
Yeah.
dog. God damn it. That dog is a saint.
So serial killers. When I wrote this one down, my thoughts were, I don't know if y'all have heard about like Ted Bundy's ghost still doing things.
Wait, like killing people?
Not killing people, but like tormenting.
Oh, God.
I mean,
I've heard of
I
John
mean,
Wayne
if-
Gacy.
If Hitler was in,
If Hitler was in Annalise Michelle's,
Yeah, that's true.
if he was one of the demons, yeah, they can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, anybody can do it. Yeah.
So we can go a lot of ways with that, and I think I'll probably pursue that.
Okay, so you're going to pursue more of the paranormal side of the serial killer
Yeah.
thing. I know that, like, I'm pretty sure there was like a thing with John Wayne Gacy's house. Like, apparently that's haunted.
Or if one of y'all wanted to, we have like I think we have two like local serial killers like within our like.
You're talking about like the
area.
railroad killer,
yeah.
and what was the other one?
There was another one like
Excuse
also
me?
like that. Yeah, we had a.
this is news to me.
It
Yeah,
was,
he killed somebody in Weimar.
yeah.
Well, actually, it was two people. It
Excuse-
was two. It was
We
two.
work in Weimar.
Yeah.
It was two.
I need to meet
an
this
older
man.
couple. No, he would hop on trains and then jump off in
Did
towns.
he ever get caught?
Yeah, and then jump
Oh.
off in towns and kill people in the town, then hop on the next train and
When
go
was
somewhere
this?
else. 80s?
Yeah,
70s?
because I know
80s?
I've talked to people that were alive during it. They were
Yeah.
scared, like locking their doors and
So
stuff.
he's in prison.
No,
I mean, I
I think he it
might
was
be out by
Texas,
now.
bro. He probably got executed.
Oh, that's true. That's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. He's out in spirit.
I want to meet him.
I wonder, or are there? Houston's a big city. Were there any serial killers in Houston?
Oh, there's so many.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
You got I think the Toy Box Killer was from there. You had the Candyman is
the
originally
toy
from there.
box killer was from there.
Yeah, I believe
Ooh.
so. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Candyman was also from there.
Candyman, like Candyman.
Nah,
Where he comes from.
That's a spirit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, because that's like a folk tale kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, okay.
Candyman was a serial killer that used to own a candy shop, and he would have kids come to his store and just get free candy, and he would kill people. We have the killing fields in
Killing
Texas.
Fields,
We
yeah.
have
Yeah, but were they from Texas?
the killing fields.
Oh, you mean the killer?
Like
They don't know who the killer was.
The killers.
Yeah, no, we have no idea. You just know of the fields and how many bodies were found.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chainsaw Massacre was one of them. I guess you
Oh,
would
the
call him.
Chainsaw Massacre, yeah.
He's kind of a serial killer or just a maniac.
Well, I thought that was based on
Verse.
Oh, that's right.
an
That was
out of state
that was
killer.
Yeah.
It was based on another serial killer from like north part of the country,
Interesting.
but they
interesting.
made it setting in Texas.
Yeah.
All right.
There's stuff we can find in.
Hell
It
yeah.
doesn't have to be in Texas too. If you can find some creepy stuff about it.
The show. All right. Well.
Well, before we move on, I know Colby had been kind of talking about it a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
You had
that's right.
something. You had something creepy happen to you.
Oh
between now
yeah.
and
We got
last
some
episode?
creepy stuff happen to us.
I did not. Not that I can recall.
I did not.
Okay, well, it's all up to you.
So I was driving to work this morning.
I was having this. Why is it always the day of
Yeah.
an episode?
It is weird that does happen.
So I was at the main intersection in town. What?
Now continue.
Yeah,
We'll get-
continue. we'll get to
So
it
the
in the
main
chat segment.
main intersection in town. Turn left to go
Yes.
on, whatever,
Yeah.
77. And there was a man. I want to say he was mixed.
Okay.
He looked African American,
Okay.
but not like full on. He looked
Mhm.
like half of his family. No, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, he had a backpack on. He had a blue shirt, blue jeans. Not the plaid shirt,
Okay.
but it was just like a like a navy polo.
Was he moving?
Yes, he was moving. He was walking. He was currently walking. but the terrifying thing
Mm-hmm.
is this man. Okay, the only way I can reason why he was holding his phone, like in this situation,
Oh, I
was like if he was on like FaceTime with someone. He was
Yeah.
literally walking like this for like a block straight. Like I watched him in the rear view, and I couldn't tell what was on his phone, but he was like straight up, posture perfect, walking like this.
Oh, that's a skinwalker.
And I'm like, people don't fucking like.
No. Well, maybe old people that don't know how to work their phone very well.
He wasn't old. He was.
Oh no.
He was mid-20s.
I mean, maybe he was live streaming, bro. Like maybe he's like Insta famous or something.
Portrait mode.
Yeah. Yeah. That's popular.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Hey, what's up?
But I doubt
But
it.
it wasn't like out here. It was like
He might just not know
at his
angles very
chest.
well.
It was like at his chest, like right. Like this
Listen,
distance.
Are you
We're
sure
just trying
he
to
was
debunk.
filming himself and not?
I don't
in
know if
front
he
of
was
him?
filming. He might have been like just holding his phone.
Oh, so it was like an
Like-
NPC fuck up,
Yeah,
like
Exactly.
Yeah. The
Trying
code, the
Or a
code got messed up.
skinwalker trying to
Trying-
act like a person.
trying to look normal, but it was like, what? Hello?
It doesn't
Yeah.
end
Yeah.
there.
Oh, it doesn't end there.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no, I thought that was it.
I continue on. I get up the bluff and I turn on to 155.
Yes.
And I'm passing KBUK radio station.
You don't see this fucker again, do you?
No.
Oh, okay. I was
No,
about
no,
to
no.
say.
Like, yeah, that would be fucking. I would immediately tell you all that shit.
Colby would have FaceTimed us both. And like, you see this shit?
Another NPC looking dude. Like
Okay.
this time he's homeless. Like man is covered in hair.
Okay.
Like
Like the wolf
think
man.
of like any person from the Bible.
Okay.
That's the amount of hair we're talking. And
Well, me to an extent.
no, much more.
Like not trimmed up at all. Like
Not trimmed, beard down to mid chest.
Okay.
my eyebrows.
Yeah. I can't quite remember what he had on, but he was walking in the same manner. He didn't have a phone in his hand.
But very like stiff.
Yeah, but very upright,
Yeah.
walking, staring straight forward. Down the side of 155.
Yeah, which there's absolutely no reason to be walking
Exactly.
around there.
Yeah.
If he was trying to get from our town to where we work, that's a long walk.
He was okay, so he was
It's a
walking.
very long
He's
walk.
walking towards the Grange.
Okay. I don't know, because then you got to
Right
walk down the
outside,
bluff.
because KBUK is like half a mile down from.
Yes. Yeah. And then even then, where do you go? You go down the bluff.
Yeah.
For what? Like to go down that dangerous road where 18
Right.
wheelers are going and can't see you around a blind corner?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
So I marked it up to either I'm being watched
Mm-hmm.
or something's going down pretty soon,
In LaGrange.
or both. Those are the only options.
Yeah, something's going down and you're the target. They're watching you.
Yeah.
Just making sure that
Yep.
you know.
Those
They
are the-
probably
those
knew
are the
you-
only
They
options,
knew that
though.
you were gonna do this shit, and they're like, "Oh
Yeah.
fuck, we gotta take him out." Like,
Yeah.
and
They're
then
probably
they did
outside
it.
the door.
Probably.
Yeah.
Man,
Man, why you have to?
why you gotta bring him here?
Oh, and then the number, which that wasn't weird. I was
You were
just
just-
like,
you were hoping
I was
for the
hoping
number.
it would like, there was a truck connected to a trailer, and on the back of the trailer, it had 6 digits. And at our work, we work with VIN numbers, and VIN numbers always have 6 numbers.
Yeah.
We
at the
used
end.
6 numbers, yeah.
Except for Ford. Fuck Ford.
Yeah, they got 5 and I wanted.
But yeah, and I was like, I wrote the number down because I was like, I bet I'm gonna fucking see this like later today.
Uh-huh.
I didn't fucking see
But
it.
the last, he did not.
Alas, he did not. All right. Well,
One day I will.
so next up is serial killers,
135660.
and
Four, eight,
that'll be
five,
on the
two,
next
two.
episode, which will be Monday, right?
This will be out Monday morning, and then Serial Killers will be live streamed Monday night here on your
Man,
channel.
we're it's like we're talking about going to one episode
Yeah, we'll
one
wrap up.
episode a fucking week or whatever, and we're now we're at
Oh,
3. But anyways, guys, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. That's it for episode 14 of Dead Reflections Podcast. We'd like to shout out our buddies in Terraform Podcast and Dark Hour Podcast. They're super awesome. Go check out their podcast. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, my brain just went dumb there for a second. Follow us at Dead Reflections Podcast on all social medias, or follow the link tree to find our socials. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And the video version of this podcast will be posted on YouTube on Monday morning.
Correct.
Email us at deadreflectionspod@gmail.com to submit your stories. let us know how we're doing, or let Kolby know how he's doing. All band-related social medias can be found at FWFTX. Please don't forget to leave a rating or review anywhere you listen. They really do help us get our name out there to find new listeners. Thank you for all the continued support, and remember, tell your family, tell your friends, and tell the monsters under your bed to listen to Dead Reflections podcasts. Have a good night. And chat, stick around because we're going to have a chat segment after this. Don't go nowhere.